Hey man, what up, man? Tuesday, February 11th in the NBA. We've got a 4-game NBA slate. I've got two of my best bets that I'm locking in today, and I think it's going to be no sweat. Like I said, 4-game NBA slate. Let's get to the recap, and then we're jumping right in. Yesterday, a 1 and 2 day, down 1.5 units to start off the week. We can easily make that back up, though. I'm not tripping. DeMar DeRozan, easy, no sweat cash there. Drops over 40 points. Jazz Lakers, my 1.5 unit play there, didn't get there. That game actually flies over. Lakers put up a lot of points, man. Hey, what can I say? They proved me wrong there. I thought that game would be a little bit closer and a little bit more lower scoring. Hey, they proved me wrong. And then Rudy Gobert, the wagon of Rudy Gobert might be coming to an end. I might just have to get back to picking and choosing my spots a lot more wiser. And I feel like he was a wagon for us, like going 4-0 in about a week or two. And I've kind of ran it back on him a couple more times and maybe just been kind of running it back too much on him. But hey, we can easily make that back up. You guys see all the stats on the screen. Let's get to the day slate. Now I have two best bets in today's video. They are both in the New York Knicks and Pacers game. So if you want to scroll to that game, scroll right ahead to it. But if you got the diehards that like going through every single game, hearing kind of my analysis on some of these games, some of my leans, we will be going game by game and I will give you my analysis and leans on some of these games. Now, some of these games have some injury news, so we're going to get into it. I'll let you know how I'm feeling. First game on the board, Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers here. Now, does look like Joel Embiid's questionable. If Joel Embiid goes, I obviously lean the Sixers here. I think the Raptors right now are just too banged up. They're missing Jakob Poeltl. They're missing RJ Barrett. Those are two of their top guys right there. You're relying a lot on Emmanuel Quickley and Scotty Barnes with a little bit of Grady in there. In my opinion, I still lean the Sixers now. -9. It's almost now -9. If Embiid doesn't go and it's -9, I almost lean the Raptors. If Embiid goes and it's -9, I would probably still lean the Sixers, but I can almost see an over at that point. I could see the Sixers with this lineup still scoring 115, 120 points, and then you just kind of need the Raptors to hang in there with them. Not any of like really great props in this game that I'm absolutely loving. Scotty Barnes was the main guy I looked at for the Raptors. Grady I can't trust for the Raptors. He doesn't get up volume sometimes, and if he does, he's shooting like 6 for 9, so you got to hope that he shoots well when he does go over. So not a big fan of Grady there. Now, he could get a lot of opportunities versus the 76ers. 76ers over the last 10 games, allowing a lot of three-pointers, and not defending the three ball real great. So Emmanuel Quickley, Grady could have a good game. Their small forward there, I always butcher his name. I know he went to Kansas. Oche, the small forward there, he can shoot the ball a little bit sometimes. So if you're liking any of those guys, rock with them. It's the Raptors. Really, the only guy I'm looking at here is Scotty Barnes. I do lean Scotty over on PRA. That's really about, even then, I don't love it. I really don't love it, but I don't think this game's a huge blowout today either way. But with the 76ers here, you got Maxey, Paul George, Kelly Oubre had a good game versus the Raptors earlier this year, but I think for any Sixers props, you got to wait on Embiid. Now, a lot of props are based off Embiid playing, but he is questionable, and we all know Embiid could just sit any random time. So I don't have a real good lean for any Sixers props until we find out some injury news. And if Joel Embiid sits, I'm going to like Maxey probably to score around 30 points. Paul George, not really loving him, but that's kind of just where my head's at with it. Not my favorite game, but let's move on to the next one because I have two best bets in this game. I already let you know. New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers here. Now, New York, they do play again tomorrow night. New York plays again tomorrow night. I don't know if that's huge info that you need to know, but you already know Knicks are terrible on back-to-backs. Now, the first half of a back-to-back, they're not bad. It's the second half. So remember that the Knicks play tomorrow. So if they're blowing out the Pacers are blowing out the Knicks, some guys are definitely going to be sitting in that fourth quarter. I mean, there are some games that are big blowouts. I mean, Pacers beat the Knicks by 11. Knicks beat the Pacers by like 20. Pacers beat the Knicks by like 20. So last three games have been kind of having some blowouts. But, I mean, with Karl Anthony Towns here, man, I think it's a big game here for the Knicks. I more lean the Knicks here on this side. I tend to like a lot of more Knicks props in this game as well. But, I feel like at Indy always plays well. So at home, it's hard to go against Indy. But the one thing about Indy that's scaring me away from taking the Pacers at home, if this was at New York, it'd be easy Knicks, even though this matchup is close against each other. But at Indy, they always play well at home. They always play better at home. They're way better at home. A lot of their offensive statistics, defensive statistics, just everything's better at home. But their travel has just been rough, man. I mean, they traveled to Paris, played those 2 games in Paris, and then traveled home, played 2 games at home, and then had to travel on the road for a 4-game road trip where they played a back-to-back. Now, the last game they played was on the 8th, so they did have about a 2-day rest here. If you value that at all. But I mean, honestly, man, they've been traveling a lot. They just went over to Paris, came back home, went over to the West Coast to play a road trip. Now have to travel all the way back home. Like I said, they had a couple days rest, but I mean, I'm leaning the Knicks here. I do lean the Knicks. I think the Knicks probably win today and then lose tomorrow, or just really aren't going to play well tomorrow. But I do lean the Knicks. Total at 239. I want to lean the over. But I'm not jumping up and down to play the over there because I could see this game being a game where the Pacers only put up 105, 110 points, and then the Knicks still beat them like 120 to 110, and it goes under. So staying away from the total, but I do lean the over. Now, let's get to my favorite player props in this game. The first bet that I have today is going to be Karl Anthony Towns, Cat, over 26.5 points plus assists. Now, I don't have a lot of stats to back this up, but if you have heard me every single YouTube video since we've started making videos over here, high usage players always crush their points or assists versus the Pacers. Jalen Brunson, if you're liking him today, rock with him. Karl Anthony Towns, that's who I'm rocking with. Points plus assists. If you want to throw in his rebounds, rock with him, man. It's a good matchup for his rebounds. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's just, it's a 13.5. You may have to get 14 rebounds. If you've been watching Cat over the last 2 weeks, hasn't been grabbing like 15, 20 rebounds how he was at the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season seemed like he couldn't be stopped on the boards, but he's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I still like the spot, man. He's hit it 6 of 7 on the road versus teams that play at a top 10 pace. The Pacers play at the 6th quickest. The rebounds also back that. So if you're liking his rebounds, he's hit it on the road with his rebounds, like his PRA, he's hit it 6 of 7 too. So if you like his rebounds, rock with it. But his usage is highest second on the Knicks on the road. They're on the road here. I love the spot, man. I have pointed it out to you guys so many times with high usage players, either crushing their points, crushing their assists, or crushing their points plus assists versus this Pacers team. Karl Anthony Towns on the road has been playing a little bit better, kind of picking it up on the road, letting Brunson, Mikal Bridges, all those guys go crazy at home. I like Cat here against the Pacers team that he has traditionally in his career kind of had big games versus Miles Turner, a little bit questionable. Even if he's back, is he fully healthy? I still think Cat dominates. So I like Cat over 26.5 points plus assists. That's the first best bet. And we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to jump right into the second bet here. Second bet, Josh Hart. Under 31.5 PRAs. It is an under. It's a scary one because Josh Hart can have monster games. He has went over this 2 of 2 versus the Pacers this year. So when he's matched up versus the Pacers twice this year, he's went over, having 33 and 32 PRAs. But both those games, Precious Achiuwa did sit in this game. There's really nobody that should be sitting for the Knicks besides maybe OG Anunoby. So if that does scare you, hey, go ahead, stay away from it. But it's mainly a spot I like because he's on the road. Last year didn't really hit this versus the Pacers on the road. But on the road, he's went under the 16 of 23 this year and 19 of 30 last year on the road. So on the road really hasn't been going crazy. I like Cat to go crazy today. I like Josh Hart to go under. That's kind of my 2 best bets there in that game, and those are my 2 favorite on the whole entire board so far. In VIP, we may lock in another player too. But right now, man, those are my 2 favorite on the board. Lock those in. Moving right along to the third game on the board. Now, before we get to this third game, drop a like on the video, drop a comment if you've been tailing. Let me know if you just enjoyed the analysis. Guys, I really appreciate any type of interaction in the comments. Dropping a like, it helps me know if you guys are enjoying these type of videos, or if I should make them a little bit shorter and just give you guys my best bets. I know we've had some people in the past say that they enjoy the full analysis, full slate breakdown, but I'm just curious on what everybody's liking. If there are some people that join the videos and they're like, I like your bets, but I really don't like the full length of the video. You let me know, man. Let me know. I enjoy getting your guys' interaction and figuring out what you guys enjoy. But third game on the board, Pistons at the Bulls. Bulls underdogs at home here. Pistons pretty favored. Now, the only thing steering me away from wanting to just say, hey, take the Pistons, because I think the Bulls are going to start tanking, man. I really do. Now, if you looked at their last couple games, the guys that are scoring for them, it's really, man, Kobe White. Kobe White, if you watched that game versus the Warriors, Kobe White was shooting 40-footers from half court from the Bulls logo and hitting threes. I mean, he was going crazy that game. Before that, they're kind of spreading it out. If it's not Kobe White, they're spreading it out to everyone. With no Zach LaVine, I think Kobe White probably will be the guy on that team that gets the most volume. If you haven't been able to tell, they are kind of playing their rookie a little bit more. The guy who's in the dunk contest, I forget his name. I think it's Matthias or something like that. They've been playing him a little bit more. So Nikola Vucevic kind of hasn't been playing that great. I love Nikola Vucevic for a double-double today. That's about really the only thing I like Nikola Vucevic for. He's had good point games, but his points have just kind of dropped. They've kind of been spreading the ball around. So I like Nikola Vucevic double-double. Jalen Duren double-double. He's a wagon versus the Bulls. If you like Jalen Duren PRA, ride with it, but double-double should be safe for him. I mean, he's crushing that, and I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, he's just on fire right now. Beginning of the season, a little rocky. He's kind of coming back into his form of what he was last year, where he was just a wagon. So don't mind him. Those are really about the only two guys I wouldn't mind. Josh Giddey, another guy I'm going to point out just because his RA at home is a wagon. But low-key, he's kind of started to slow down on that. So I guess I can't really say that every video now because last 2 or 3 times I pointed him out, he's went under. So we're not bringing up Josh Giddey no more, and I said you shouldn't be taking his props before All-Star break anyways. He's just not somebody you should be backing consistently, unless if you really love the spot. I like the two big men there in Detroit. I lean Detroit, but everyone's on them. It seems like everyone is on the Pistons for good reason. I think the Pistons probably are the better team. I'm really kind of on the boat that I think the Bulls start to tank. That's just me. Their defense is awful. They've lost one of their best offensive players. They're throwing in rookies, letting them get some playing time. So I'm kind of more on the track that they're kind of tanking a little bit, trying to figure out what they have for next season. They still got the second half of the season, but hey, we only got about another 20 games in the season. So I guess about another 30. But in my opinion, I lean the Pistons, but everyone's on them. So I don't like being on a game that everyone's on, where everyone's on one side. It's kind of how I'm feeling. Last game on the board. Memphis Grizzlies versus the Phoenix Suns. I always pointed out Memphis's defense is always worse on the road. They have been way worse on the road this year compared to at home. Memphis at home, top 5, top 10 defense at home. On the road, bottom 10, bottom 5 defense on the road. Suns, does look like KD will be back in this game, but they are kind of having some guys a little banged up. Grayson Allen is questionable. You got some guys trades that still haven't kind of went through. The trades are still pending, but nobody real big names. It's really Bradley Beal is out for the Suns. Grayson Allen is questionable. That's really the big names there that are out. Now, in this game, if this was at Memphis, I would say I like Memphis here. They haven't been a great team on the road. They're kind of like the Pacers a little bit. Really good at home, not great on the road. That's kind of how I feel about this Memphis team. I feel like it's kind of the same thing as the Pistons. I kind of want to say I like the Grizzlies there, but Suns, their defense is just really bad recently. The Grizzlies' defense is way worse on the road. I want to say I lean the over in this game as well, kind of like that Knicks game, but I kind of have the same thought in my head to where it's a kind of high total. I could see this big game being a game where it's 116 to 114, where it's right at that 244. I mean, this could be a very close game. I do lean the over because I think with KD coming back, KD could have a decent one. Devin Booker could have a decent one. But also, I think I more just lean the Grizzlies here. John Morant playing. They seem to be pretty healthy. I think I just lean the Grizzlies, but another game that I feel like a lot of people are going to be on the Grizzlies, so it kind of scares me a little bit. I don't like being on sides of a team where 70, 80% of the money's on that side. I just really don't. I know it's not always the wrong side to be on. Sometimes the public just wins, and if a lot of the public's on them, hey, ride with it. But that's just kind of where my head's at. I don't typically like to take plays like that. Now, some player props that I lean over here. I mean, there's a lot of Grizzlies players that I lean over to where, like I said earlier, it's just kind of got me to the point where I lean the over in the game. But the total, it's a tricky one. But I lean John Morant over. I lean Jaren Jackson over on a lot of props, points, rebounds. He always crushes his points and rebounds versus Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's playing, it looks like. So against Kevin Durant, Jaren Jackson grabbing 8, 9, 10 boards. And we all know Jaren Jackson for being almost a 7-footer. That man doesn't hardly grab more than 5. So against KD, he does grab some boards there. The main guy I want to point out for the Suns that I feel like could be a little trappy here, I still like it. I still lean the over. I do. But it seems a little trappy. Tyus Jones, rebounds plus assists. Tyus Jones assists today. That line screams to me over. Everything is screaming to me over. He crushes that line at home with no Bradley Beal. Like everything without Bradley Beal, Tyus Jones crushing. I really like his RA there. So if you're looking at Tyus Jones this year with Kevin Durant in the lineup, with Devin Booker in the lineup, but no Bradley Beal, he has hit his RA 7 of 8 times, flying over this. His line today for RA is 8.5. He's had 12, 14, 12, 14, flying over it. 8 landed on the hook. 13, flying over it, and then 9 barely hitting it. This line is screaming to me over. Screaming. Against his old team in the Grizzlies. Used to play at the Grizzlies. First time going up against John Morant, I'm pretty sure, for Tyus Jones. Everything's screaming to me over there for Tyus Jones to the point where that was the first bet that I was going to lock in today. And then I go to Pickett. If you know what the app Pickett is, everyone is on Tyus Jones assists. Like, I looked at Pickett, 1,000 plus people on Tyus Jones assists. The next closest in that game is 100 for like John Morant. I'm like, holy, everyone is on this. If you go to Underdog, the DFS app Underdog, That's one of the most popular picks today is Tyus Jones. So everyone's on Tyus Jones, scares me away from it. Like I said, I would almost rather stay away. I feel like usually when I stay away from those, more times than not, they go the opposite, like they go under. More times than not, when I think it's a line's a little trappy, more times than not, they go the way I'm thinking it's going to go. And Tyus Jones seems a little trappy. Now, it could just be maybe the books just got it wrong, man. There have been times where I've thought a line's trappy and it wasn't trappy at all. It was just the books just got it wrong. So I'm not sitting here saying every time, but you will notice if you watch the YouTube videos every day, you will notice I will pick out these lines and sometimes I'll call them out on, hey, they're too good to be true. And I feel like more times than not, we are right on them. So in that game, a lot of leans, kind of staying away. My favorite game today is the New York versus Pacers game because I think that is the most going to be the most competitive. Neither one of those teams really like each other. They want to beat up on each other. They want to play well. It's probably my favorite game, but there are some decent games. It's just Philadelphia got to wait for Joel Embiid, like the Knicks Pacers. Detroit Chicago, a lot of good leans there, but a lot of props that are kind of juicy or right into All-Star break here. Don't really want to play them, not real confident with them. And then Grizzlies, Phoenix Suns, a lot of leans in that game as well. A lot of leans in that game. And like I said, in VIP, I may have another play or two for tonight's slate. But right now, only got the couple in the Knicks Pacers game. And that's really about how I'm feeling, man. That's my favorite game on the board. So drop a like on the video. If you're liking today's slate, let me know in the comments if you think this slate is garbage and you're staying away. But tomorrow for Wednesday, got a way bigger slate. So I know we'll have some people maybe not playing anything huge today and get ready to go tomorrow. So that's how I'm feeling. Small slate today. Play it light, play it careful, find the plays you like. Tomorrow, big slate. Let's get ready to go for tomorrow.